My name is Johnna Atkins, and I'm in Art 111. And I actually learned a lot this semester about art. Before, I really didn't know much about art. I knew what I thought was pretty, I knew the basic techniques such as painting, coloring, um, digital design. But other than that, I didn't really know about all the different techniques and tools that's associated with art. And also, I learned a lot in art about the different history, economically and politically, how art's shaped and evolved in all those different subjects. I also found that my favorite artist is Pablo Picasso because his art makes you think a little bit deeper than you normally would, such as this picture right here. When you first glance, you just you see the five prostitutes, but what he done is he put masks on them and he wanted to show not what you saw, but what his mind let him see. So it's kind of like using your brain and going a little bit further than, your eyes. And I found that in art has a lot to do with mood and, not just what you see. It's more deeper than that. And also, I like Leonardo da Vinci's Madonna and Child. I guess I like a lot of that because I am a mother to small children, and those, you know, artwork shows that a woman can still be beautiful even if she's nude when she has children. I mean, it's easy to feel like when you have children that you lost your sex appeal and that having children is not really, appealing. But like in this picture right here, here it is. The Birth of Venus by Alexandria Carbonell. It shows a beautiful woman and surrounded by, Cupid, but I think of like children. Like, see how beautiful I feel like she looks, and just kind of, I don't know, I just like those pictures. And I also learned about photography. Like before, I thought like pictures were just made to be like for memories or something you could look back on, see how you used to look. But no, actually, I understand now that taking a picture is like you're capturing your subject, and um, it shows how unique and impressive that something could be. It's like taking a picture of something freezes that moment in time, and you get to see what something really looks like instead of just like passing by a bee and a flower, and you see it but you don't really see it. But when you take a picture of it, you could actually see how beautiful the flower is and all the details. And I don't know, it's really neat. Like I look at photography in a totally different way now. And I was also interested in the different ways arts can be made. Like, for example, this picture by Joanna Van Sololo's Contamination. And this piece of work, she uses different materials, and it's amazing how she used fabric samples, jewelry, insects, children toys, sequins, pom poms, beach towels, like all this different stuff came together and made something so like unique. I would never thought to do something like that. Like I didn't know you could use objects to make art. And also in this one by Del Chuli Mille Fiori, um, the artist uses glass and It shows the work and different colors in a precise contour line, contrast line, and that I also learned that a picture sometimes is more powerful than it appears at first glance, like in this picture of the from the rebellious silence, Sharon Neshat. Um, it looks like the lady just has a gun and calligraphy or scribbles on her face when you first glance at it. But if you just look at it like not just as a subject, but the content of it, you'll see that it's actually a very, if you look into her eyes, you can see like even the colors, the black and white, the contrast shows like how miserable she is and how even the position of the gun shows the segregation of what the Western society opposed to the, the society she's from, Islam. And it shows how segregated she is and how she's equal among men and how Westerners treat her. And I don't know, just sad like looking at it. And what's unique about this thing right here is it says I'm a pipe. But is this really a pipe or is it a picture of a pipe? So it kind of shows how art is. It's like it's whatever you really want it to be. And also I learned about the different techniques and tools associated with art. Like I learned something new. I never knew what fresco was, and I think fresco is interesting because it's when an artist makes a painting that literally becomes part of the wall. And like this example right here is the Toreador by Gnosis Crete. It's a picture of a bull, and fresco is made when you get water and wet lime plaster, and so it's like part of the wall. It's like really nice. It's really nice, I think. I also learned about etching and imprinting, and then also like how different lines and different brush strokes can like affect a picture or a painting. Like in this one, I learned like if you the subject matter is like further smaller, it looks like it's further away, and the different moods associated with like the lines and the different colors, like blue looks more calming and yellow means like more energetic. It's really neat. Like if you look at this, you think it's a bunch of scribbles, but if you sit there and take the time, you'll see like a sailboat and the different, the sky and the sand. It's really neat when you like get your eyes trained to see the bigger picture. I mean, the bigger picture, and sometimes you got to look within that picture to see other pictures. And also, I learned that different social groups use art in different ways. I mean, same ways, but they express themselves different. Like, for example, this picture right here appears to be an upper class woman and an upper class man innocently swinging. But if you look more into the picture, you'll see that, the man's down here in a provocative way looking up her skirt, and then her foot is barefooted, and that's in her shoe, the symbol of her losing her virginity. And then the man's tipping his hat to her. And then in the 1800s, they said that hats are used to cover up naked parts of your lover. And then you have Cupid over here, which is the symbol of love, like covering his mouth, like a secret, which usually means an affair. So it's like really neat learning these kind of techniques or little details that the artist, like, cleverly puts in there. And, oh, speaking of class, and then here's a picture of like an African American woman, totally different class from the upper class, and how she's like powerful and embracing being, African American. At her foot is a white tiger, which means courage and strength. And then another thing is from Harlem. It shows African Americans, buying vodka, drinking, playing cards. It's just showing like a life in Harlem. And the bright colors shows, the energy and supposed to be like, I guess, alive, fun time, I guess, in Harlem. And then also too, like the same thing, like a flag, for example, for people that's proud to be an American, would see this and be proud to be American. But then the flag for other social groups might, be more of a negative thing, like African Americans consider the flag being like segregation from the whites and blacks and, being a slave to society. So this picture shows the civil rights movement and the segregation. And I feel like many artists use art to like express themselves and release their feelings. Like the two gay guys kissing. Like some might find that as controversial, but this artist wants to, show positive matter. Like he's proud to be gay, like so artists can use that to show their feelings or their agenda. And I'm one too, like I'm not really good with words. I like to show my emotions and feelings through music. I write a lot of music, poetry and lyrics and stuff. So that's one way that I can express myself. And I think many artists use art to express themselves through, the imagery, the colors, the lines. Um, and I also learned too that artists can use different colors and lines depending on their mood. Usually bright colors, curvy and loopy lines is linked to like happiness and energy, and darker colors and less exaggerated lines means more like a darker or depressing side. And people also produce art to make a living, like the people in deaf in China. They know the demand for art in America, so they recreate it to make a living. Some art is even used to serve a purpose, like in earlier civilizations, the Mayans and Sumerians. They used art to keep track of the seasons, to use it for calendars, a way to keep track of their hunts. And some civilizations use art to tell stories. And all civilizations use art started out as like useful purposes. Like, for example, this candy dish right here. It's pretty, artistic, but it serves a function. It's used to store candy. So, I mean, most art is used to like for a function. And art can be made man-made or can be used by machines such as factories or printers or like printmaking, which I thought was pretty neat. As in this Marilyn Monroe and this butterfly was made by printmaking. And also, like, some artists, such as Leonardo da Vinci, did the embryo in the womb. He used this art to, like, for, like, kind of a health purpose to show a woman delivering and the gestational life of a pregnant woman. And the most important thing I've actually learned from art is about myself. The first assignment we had to do, like, was about what our house looked like, what colors we wore, and I never realized that the colors that I wear and, like, have in my house is, like, pretty but, like, simple. And I feel like my personality is kind of like that. I'm not real, like, loud and want to stand out and show off. I'm kind of more, I like to be calm, like natural colors, and it's kind of blend in with my surroundings. So I think that does, show who I am. And I've actually had a really good time in this class. And this class actually makes me want to, like, join more art classes and actually do more hands-on and learn more about art. But overall, I've had a good semester, and thank you for your time.